Welcome everyone, this is Mather, your friendly neighborhood Sherpa, back again with part 2 of my Destiny 2 Rating 101 series. In this installment, I am going to go over exotic armor choices for raiding. However, unlike my last video on weapons to get you started, most of the exotic armors in this game are random drops. That being said, there are a few that come from quest rewards, and I have made sure to include at least one guaranteed exotic for every class to help you get started, if RNGesus isn't being kind to you. Also, in case you didn't know, you should be hitting up Xur every weekend to purchase his selection of exotic gear and buy his exotic engram, which is guaranteed to contain an exotic you don't already have. Before we start, I want to touch on some of the elitism I've seen from the community surrounding weapons and gear choices. You are more than likely going to come across those in your raid adventures that will tell you you can't or shouldn't be raiding unless you have the meta picks in every slot. But I am here to tell you that unless you are attempting day 1 progression raiding, it does not matter. Yes, having meta armor and weapons will make your experience a lot smoother, but do not let anyone tell you that you must have the best guns and whatever exotic armor is meta at the time to even set foot into a raid. With that disclaimer out of the way, here are my picks for exotic armor that will make your raiding experience much smoother. Just a reminder, I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. The link is down below, so please feel free to drop by and hang out. Alright, let's dive in. So when you are raiding, there are 3 main things you will need to accomplish every encounter. Number 1, you need to stay alive the whole encounter. You only have 6 res tokens per encounter, and believe me, there are times when you'll end up using all 6 of them. Number 2, you will have to complete each encounter's mechanics, whatever it may be, correctly. And number 1, if there is a boss, you will have to DPS it down. So, when you are selecting your exotic armor, take these into account. Is there a lot of incoming damage, lots of ads, that sort of thing, but no boss? Maybe take a survivability exotic. If you are on a boss encounter, you should probably be bringing one that will increase your personal or the whole raid's DPS. For this one, I'm going to start the list with the survivability and quality of life exotics, and then move into what I believe are the top meta picks for each class. As always, this is simply my opinion based on how I play in raids. Let's kick things off with Titans. Titans have a lot of really great quality of life exotics, starting with my number 5 pick, Doomfang Pauldrons, which have the exotic perk Horns of Doom. Void melee kills give super energy, and while Sentinel Shield is active, melee kills recharge your shield throw, which extend your super on hit. This one can be acquired from the Red War story mission Riptide, and when paired with Bottom Tree Sentinel Shield, each shield bash will net you about 1/5 of your super back. And when you do pop your super, as long as you keep landing finishing blows with your shield throw, you will greatly extend your super duration. If you'd like to take it one step further and spec into strength for the reduced cooldown on your melee, it will turn you into an ad clearing machine. Number 4, Phoenix Cradle. Exotic perk, Beacons of Empowerment. Sun Warrior lasts twice as long. Allies who pass through your sunspot are also granted Sun Warrior. These can be acquired from completing the Shadowkeep campaign and are for Bottom Tree Sunbreaker. This is an excellent choice for group play, as Sun Warrior gives grenade and melee ability regen, makes your super last longer, and also increases all damage you do while the buff is active. This will also bump Sun Warrior to a 10-second buff and give that buff to anyone in your party who passes through your sunspot. Bottom Tree also gives you health back on solar ability kills, and while you have the Sun Warrior buff, all your kills can make more sunspots. In practice, this means you'll be giving anyone in the raid near you a massive increase to their ability cooldowns and buffing the raid's damage at the same time. Number 3, Dune Marchers. Exotic perk, Linear Actuators. Increased sprinting speed, sprinting builds up a static charge. After melee attacking an enemy, that charge will chain damage to nearby enemies. The most quintessentially Titan exotic, you punch stuff in the face and every red bar in a 20-meter radius around you dies. The sprinting speed is nice and will help you run from objective to objective faster, but they will only really shine when there are a lot of red bar ads around you to melt. Number 2, Helm of St. 14. Exotic perk, Starless Night. Enemies that enter Ward of Dawn are blinded, while allies that pass through gain an overshield. Guarding with Sentinel Shield blinds nearby enemies. As a Titan, your primary utility in raid comes from the increased reload speed from rally barricades and providing weapons of light from Ward of Dawn. And while Ward is great by itself, that extra overshield the Helm provides is a huge boost to survivability, especially if you are underleveled or doing any sort of progression raiding. And finally, number 1, and my meta pick at the time of this video, Actium War Rig. Exotic perk, Auto-Loading Link. Steadily reloads a portion of your equipped auto rifles or machine guns magazine from reserves. This only recently came back into the meta when Xenophage got its damage buff. The ammo return rate is just high enough that you can fire off every round of Xenophage ammo without having to reload, mitigating Xeno's only real weakness of having a huge reload time and turns it into a DPS monster. It has the added bonus of working well with any Rampage auto rifle you happen to be running, almost, if not completely, removing the need to reload your primary and heavy at all. Moving on to Warlocks, let's start with number 5 and their welfare exotic option, Sunbracers. Another exotic from the Red War campaign mission Riptide, they come with the exotic perk, Helium Spirals. Increase the duration of solar grenades. Solar melee kills grant unlimited solar grenade energy for a brief time. When paired with Top Tree Dawnblade, which gives melee energy for kills made while airborne, you can effectively cover a huge amount of area in solar grenades, turning you into an ad-clearing machine. Unfortunately, the solar grenades cannot stack their damage against a single target, hence their placement at the bottom of this list. Number 4, Nezarec's Sin. Exotic perk, Abyssal Extractors. Void damage kills increase ability energy recharge rate. It is important to note that yes, this does mean all void damage, including weapons. Pair this with Bottom Tree Voidwalker and a gun like Gnawing Hunger or Recluse, and you will be getting an insane amount of melee and especially grenade energy back, on top of a full heal as long as you remember to proc Devour. Number 3, Crown of Tempest. Exotic perk, Conduction Tines. Arc ability kills increase the recharge rate of your arc abilities and extend the duration of Storm Trance. This gives a buff that stacks up to 3 that does exactly what it says in the tin with more ability energy, which, if you can get stacked all the way up to 3, will allow you to chain your grenade and melee abilities for as long as you can keep getting the last hit in order to keep the buff rolling. When paired with Bottom Tree Stormcaller, which also gives you a super bonus, grenade, and melee energy for its powered melee kills, you end up with a very powerful cycle of abilities into super, allowing you to clear adds to your heart's content. Number 2, Geomag Stabilizers. Exotic perk, Close Enough. When Chaos Reach super energy is almost full, sprinting tops it off. Damaging enemies with Chaos Reach extends its duration. What this translates to is when your super is about 4/5 full, you can sprint to get that last fifth of your bar in a couple seconds. The increased super duration makes Chaos Reach do respectable DPS on bosses if you've already spent all your heavy ammo, or makes it easier to conserve your super energy if you need to toggle Chaos Reach off because you had to use it to clear out any adds. And coming in at number 1, we have a tie between Lunafaction Boots and Phoenix Protocol. As a Warlock, your main raid utility lies in Middle Tree Dawnblade, and its very powerful super, Well of Radiance, and both of these exotics buff it in different ways. Lunafaction Boots have the exotic perk, Alchemical Etchings. Your rifts gain the additional ability to increase weapon reload speeds. Empowering Rift makes weapons effective over longer ranges. The first part is what we are interested in, since it will grant everyone standing in your well, which during DPS phases will be everyone, a huge boost to their reload speed. However, the same effect can be achieved simply by having a Titan drop a rally barricade inside your well. Which brings us to the other pick, Phoenix Protocol. Exotic perk, Battle Hearth. Kills and assists you make while standing in your Well of Radiance returns super energy. While this won't help anyone DPS the boss any harder, the amount of super energy you get back shouldn't be underestimated, especially if something goes sideways and you have to drop your well before it's time to do DPS. So, if you don't have any Titans, bring your Lunafaction Boots. If you do, Phoenix Protocol may be the right choice for your raid. And finally, we come to the Hunters. Starting off at number 5 with the Hunter Welfare Exotic, Assassin's Cowl. Exotic perk, Vanishing Execution. Arc, Solar, and Void melee final blows grant invisibility and restore a portion of health and shields. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the duration of the invisibility and the amount of health and shields restored. This is a reward for completing the Shadowkeep campaign, and is an excellent pick for when staying alive is your top priority. This will give you a huge chunk of health back on every powered melee kill or finisher, and the stealth makes it very easy to disengage after a kill if you're getting run over. Sadly, it doesn't provide any other benefits outside the survivability, hence its placement at the bottom of this list. Number 4, Shards of Galanor. Exotic perk, Sharp Edges. Hits and kills with Blade Barrage will return super energy after the super ends. This is for Middle Tree Gunslinger and will give you back a large chunk of your super energy depending on how many mobs you manage to tag and kill. Remember, Blade Barrage fires 2 volleys and you can correct your aim to hit a second group of adds with the second volley. This makes it an excellent choice for encounters with large groups of adds, but honestly, not much else. Number 3. Raiden Flux. Exotic perk, Synapse Junctions. Quick successive attacks with Arc Staff increase its damage output and duration. Another great super modifying exotic, this will work with any Arcstrider subclass and can be acquired from the Red War Campaign mission Riptide. It will greatly extend your super duration and damage output. Unfortunately, it does nothing to help your survivability or buff your neutral game, but it will let you absolutely destroy any non-boss adds you come up against. Number 2. Alright, we are now moving on to the meta picks for hunters, and starting us off, we have one of Destiny 2's original support exotics, Orpheus Rig. Exotic perk, Uncanny Arrows. Provides ability regen for each enemy tethered by deadfall anchors. Mobius Quiver has more shots. Now, the first part is what we are interested in for raiding. When paired with Top Tree Night Stalker, Shadow Shot becomes an incredibly potent ad control super. Not only will it snare everything in its quite large radius, it weakens them, letting you and the raid do 30% more damage to everything caught in it, and it suppresses them, making them just kinda sit there waiting to die. Then you add Orpheus Rig on top, and now you're getting up to half your super back and providing a huge number of super orbs based on how many targets you manage to tether. And you can see why this is my go-to pick on Hunter when I'm not using my number 1 pick. Number 1. Celestial Nighthawk. Exotic perk, Hawkeye Hack. Modifies Golden Gun to fire a single high damage shot. Enemies eliminated by the shot explode and grant you super energy. Arguably the most impactful exotic for raiding, make sure you are on Bottom Tree Gunslinger because that enables precision damage with Golden Gun, and your 3 shots are now one giant blast of damage straight to the boss's face. Just make sure you don't miss. When I said earlier, if there is a boss, bring something that will help increase your DPS, well this is the gold standard. Not only does it do a large amount of damage to bosses, it cuts your super time down to only a few seconds and lets you get right back to unloading your heavy ammo into the boss. And there you have it, my top picks for each class's exotic armor to help you get started. And if your favorite exotic didn't make this list, don't sweat it. Like I said earlier in the video, as long as you aren't dying and are completing the raid's mechanics, don't sweat it too much and just have fun. One last plug, I do stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Please feel free to come by and hang out. And if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that YouTube jazz. And as always, I will see you all later.